so excited.
Let's set the scene. May I? You look a little bit too excited.
All right. I'm too excited. I'll have a drink while you.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll help calm you down, I'm sure.
Go ahead.
So, for those of you who do not know, President Trump recently signed an executive order effectively. Well, I read through the whole order. I actually read a report on it. I don't know if it'll get published or not, but I wrote a report on it basically dealing with the fact that conservatives and America in general is sick and tired of the Gestapo academia constantly telling
Mafia.
and constantly moral signaling the rest of the universe who is a moral speaker and who is not a moral speaker, because
oral signaling or moral signaling?
Both and.
Oh, okay.
They have been telling students who is a good and who is a evil speaker, trampling over the First Amendment rights, and by bureaucratic impetus and unnecessary fees, they select certain speakers to have greater difficulty coming to campus, and certain other more agreeable speakers with the left-wing orthodoxy. They make it easier for them to come on campus. It's disgusting.
I love the president's diction in the executive order. He said, "If they don't let you speak, we won't give them any money."
I don't know if you were just telling me a little earlier today that we are giving schools literally billions of dollars.
Okay,
billion with a B. We could fund the border with that kind of money.
Right here on my hot little iPhone here. Okay, this is from Campus Reform. Guess who the #1 university that gets federal research dollars that are now in jeopardy if they suppress free speech? Guess who's #1? You're wrong. It's Johns Hopkins University. $2,178,605,000. Okay, that's a lot of enchiladas. Who's #2? A state institution called the University of Washington at Seattle. $952 million. Okay, #3. Another publicly funded taxpayer fund who hates America, who wants to overthrow the United States and establish a socialist communist regime.
That really doesn't narrow down the list of colleges.
University of Michigan, 829.
You're going to go through the whole list?
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. Okay, I'm going to take it. I'm taking it back to the executive order.
University and then Chapel Hill. All liberal, commie, progressive, socialist.
Okay, calm down. We know you taught at a university, at a college. We get it. Calm down. You were there for way too long, way longer than any normal student would. Calm down. Anyway, so as my good friend Professor McIntyre explained, your money is getting poured into these places by the billions, or if not millions. And what Trump is basically doing is saying, look, you can ban whoever you want. It's just we're not going to throw money at you.
That's right.
That's right. Now, I refuse to let this podcast be an echo chamber, because I actually have heard many different people express concerns, even from the right.
I'm glad you got into that. I want to talk about that. Okay, talk about that. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you one example.
Give us the opposing view. Give us the opposing view.
All right, this is just one example of an opposing view. I announced my joy to it, and this one fellow from work pointed out that Trump didn't have the right to do this.
Oh, really?
It was unconstitutional. And the reason why, yes.
He sits on the Supreme Court? This guy sits in the Supreme Court?
No. You misunderstand. This person is God.
God. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
I got it. Sorry, sorry, God.
So go.
Sorry, God.
So what he explained to me because to my stupid little brain is that colleges, the purpose of a college is to instill moral values.
Oh.
Yes, that is the real purpose of a college.
The right moral values, of course.
Yes, the correct ones. This is from a conservative person. Bear this in mind.
Really? This is from a conservative?
I kid you not. I'll explain the context of my theory. Just shut up and let me finish.
What's happening?
So So he explained to me that if, let's just say, either a public school or even a private school accepts federal dollars, they have the right, let's say if Richard Spencer comes over, to not let him speak, to shut him down, because he is in contraire to their values. They should have the right, and they should not have to worry about President Trump yanking their funding for doing that.
So this idiot has never read the Constitution of the United States. Never.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. It's that he, in my personal opinion, this particular individual doesn't quite realize that that colleges don't have that basis that they used to in like the 1950s. They haven't been like, I mean, unless we're talking like some, very fundamentalist Christian private school, that sort of standard does not exist of rigorous acceptance of liberal arts, of the traditions of Western culture. That's just not there anymore. Maybe he could get away with it in a theoretical sense. I don't think constitutional, but in a theoretical sense in the 1950s. But certainly, if you think that now, you are not paying attention and you have not been to a college campus in a long time.
So before we did the podcast, I was listening to Campus Reform, interviewing college students all around the country. Okay. And they were interviewing the students as to what their reaction was to the president's executive order. And you know what these morons have to say? I believe in free speech, but if it's offensive to a group of people, it crosses the line and it shouldn't be allowed. These morons do not understand that I have the right to offend you. Okay? That's the First Amendment. I have the right to offend you.
I would like to point out, though, that many, many, many times when policies are explained, Trump's policies are explained, but attributed to either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, they love the policies. So by the very nature, they start their question by saying, what do you think of Trump's executive order? They already know what their answer is. It's bad. If they said Obama's executive order, like DACA.
Exactly. One student said, well, I think it's a good thing, the executive order, but because it was Trump, I'm suspicious it was a secret agenda. Yeah. There you go, right? The guy can't win for losing. He can't.
Now there is, I think it was the Inside Higher Education. They wrote probably the best piece I've come across so far. Yeah. That gave points of view from the conservative side that was both praiseworthy and critical of the executive order. And the most reasonable piece of criticism I found is that it's just not exact enough. And to a certain degree, I'm sympathetic with that view because when another administration comes, or if Congress fiddles around with the rule or the courts fiddle around with the law, the sort of meaning behind it and the essence behind the reason why Trump is signing in the first place may get boggled down. So, of course, we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
I read the same article, Alex. I read the same article you did. And the thing that impressed me about that article was exactly this. The Mafia spokesperson said, we don't know what the unintended consequences of this are going to be because, you see, we don't know whether or not free speech will actually be dampened and oppressed because of the president's order. Because, and wait for it, what's the reason? It may offend people, and people will be less inclined to express their free speech. From the left. In other words, now they're saying, this is going to suppress the left. The loony left that is in complete charge of everything about speech on campus, suppressing everybody who disagrees with it. Now the Mafia is concerned. The president's order may restrict the left to express themselves. Misery. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to faint.
Yes. Fainting couch feminists. Yes. I don't know if we're referring to the same article. But you are right. I have come across that criticism, and again, anyone who's been to a campus knows that's garbage. In my personal opinion, Richard Dawkins should be allowed to speak at Liberty University.
Exactly.
No one will show up. I can tell.
Bring him on. Bring him on.
I think
a lot of people would show up. I disagree with you. I'd show up. I'd fly out there to call him Little Dickie Dawkins to his face. To his face.
But the point I'm trying to make is people get so riled up, like, oh, Richard Spencer could come to well, first of all, you can't just waltz onto a university campus auditorium. You have to be invited. And that means a student club or some sort of, or the administrator, somebody involved in that school has to invite you.
I know. Okay, let me give you the other side, the other opposing view to the president. Okay, and this is the other thing was, it's so vague and it's so vague. The language is so vague. We don't know what this would look like. What would it look like to protect free speech? Let me tell you what it would look like. If Troy Warden, the former college Republican president at Berkeley, could actually go through and have Ben Shapiro speak on campus, that's what the president's order will look like to you.
Are you having a stroke right now, or are you okay?
I'm having a heart attack. This is an outrage. These people are pulling out their groin hair
and the other way around. No. It's the other way around. You're having a happy rage. You're not having an outrage. You're having an enrage.
I'm also having a gin and tonic.
Yeah. You're also having a gin. That explains a lot. But the part where that argument does have a little bit of leeway is, hear me out, is this is how in my prediction of how the universities will work around it is the kind of what they did with Ben Shapiro is they didn't exactly disinvite him. They mounted insane amounts of fees. And they said, well, it's a security risk because
because they worked with Antifa to set the campus on fire. The administration was working with Antifa. Ask Troy.
No, I'm perfectly aware of the situation. What I'm trying to say,
this argument doesn't hold water.
No, what I am saying is that they can invent ways of inhibiting.
Of course they can invent ways. Of course they can.
Yeah.
They live in a fantasy world to begin with. Of course they're going to invent things.
That's what I'm saying is that this executive order is, and President Trump admitted this in his speech. Yeah. This is the first of many steps. This is, in my opinion, the very start. This is not by any means the end. If anything,
it's the beginning.
The stakes just got higher.
It's the beginning of the end for the liberal establishment. And you know what's buried in this executive order that very few news outlets actually picked up on? Was bringing sunshine on the student loan issues.
I did notice this. That surprised. It came out of left field, but boy, oh boy. And you know what?
Buried in this is a beautiful thing.
Well, yeah, because now he's actually appealing to the the most far left of them all, the millennials, because there is no issue that affects millennials more than student loan debt.
And what he's saying is you're being robbed. You're being robbed and raped financially.
And it's more than just, he didn't even say free handouts. He said the schools, they need to have a vested interest in your success. So it's more than, they can't, I mean, if they want to shovel you their ideology, fine, but you need to be able to get a job that can pay off this debt.
You know, there's the University of Arkansas that actually guarantees you that if you don't get a job within 2 years, they'll refund your tuition.
Is that University of the Ozarks?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the University of the Ozarks is you don't even really pay. You just work. You just work. You give you jobs and you sustain the college. And
well, I'm glad that we're getting to the end here. I'm really glad that I have been vindicated. I have been talking about defunding public schools, hashtag defund public schools. I've been talking about that for a year. And here comes the President of the United States vindicating Mark McIntyre.
One more thing, though. Again, I want to restate, this is not the end because public schools are not truly defunded. At worst, their research money will be taken away. That's not defunding.
That's just the first step.
There's pension programs. that are just destroying our educational system, draining away resources.
And you know what? There was an article in Fox Business today about why free tuition is not free and it's actually destructive to all the colleges and universities. We should do a podcast on the free education.
We should do a podcast on everything under the sun.
I know. Anyway, we're out of time. We're out of time. We want to thank everybody. Our ratings are going through the roof.
And subscribe even more.
Right.
More
religion, sex, and politics. Our best podcasts are religion, sex, and politics in that order. Goodbye, Alex.
Yeah, see you around, kiddo.
Bye-bye.